So what's the controversy? 1899 from Netflix may be plagiarism from a Brazilian comic book called Black Silence. Okay. There's no spoilers in this post. Oh no, these are spoilers. So it's comparing art from the comic book to scenes in the show, as well as story beats, as well as some symbols. Yeah, I can't really go into this without spoilers. And this just gave me a lot of spoilers for the show. So is it just the community that's spreading this, or does the author also think that this is plagiarized? Because at the bottom of this post it says, she thinks the way this is plagiarism is plausible is because she was invited to the Gothenburg Book Fair, a very famous and influential international fair in Europe, and she distributed the comic to countless publishers and people in the business there. So it looks like the author herself is claiming that they have taken her work and made this based on it, or very heavily inspired by it. And looking at the side by side of her art and her panels versus scenes from the show, they are very, very similar. Show it? I don't know what's a spoiler and what's not. Similar or ripoff? I mean, I guess here, fuck it. Here, I'll pull it up. I guess you can be the judge. But it's not just the art and the scenes that are similar, I suppose. Apparently, a lot of the story beats are also very, very similar, if not exactly the same. But then there's a Reddit post going over some more of the bigger stuff about it. I could see it being possible if she legitimately distributed these comics to the publishers and then this sprung up and has all of these similarities. I too would find that a bit fishy. Things are resub Bebop, Wild, and the Prime Alex and Tier 1 phased. Not credited to the artist. Yeah, no, they ripped it. Yeah. Well, it's not even so much this in particular. It's more like this. So it looks like in her work, they have these triangles, I guess pyramids, that are right side up here. And in the show, it's pyramids again, but now they're upside down. That feels like it was consciously done on purpose to placate. Like, oh, no, no, it's just a weird similarity. Look, like ours are upside down. Like they just made like a minor tweak to make it somewhat different. I'd be less suspicious if these were the same way. Because then you could still make the argument, well, our show also has a pyramid, so of course the pyramids are going to be in their eyes that way. But here, like, they flipped it for some reason. I think it's a tier 1 iconic in the resub Foxy. Is the storyline the same? Based on the Reddit post I was reading, the story's not one-to-one, but a lot of the story beats are. So some of the deaths in the show are the same kind. They're the same deaths that happened in the comic book, apparently. Thanks to the resub. I already said that, but thanks, Foxy. Did they say it was inspired by the comic? No. Which is the issue. Too many cliches to say 100%. I disagree. Like, symbols in the eyes, that's super cliche across everything, but the fact that it's the same symbols and tying back to the same imagery, I feel like that's a really odd coincidence. And the same deaths, like, I don't know. That'd be a crazy coincidence. I don't think pyramids are all too niche. Certainly not in this context either. This is like a sci-fi kind of thing, I'm pretty sure. The resub body. You can say it's inspired. Well, you can't just take inspiration from something without giving due credit and paying for the rights to use the imagery from the thing that you're borrowing from. You'd have to watch the show and read the comic to be 100% true. Yeah, I'm not 100% casting judgment. I'm saying that it does seem very on the nose though. Like it doesn't seem like just a weird coincidence. It does seem pretty directly related just at face value. And the fact that she legitimately went to that fair and distributed this comic to the people and then eventually this came out, I feel like that's an also very weird coincidence. Thanks to resub Wadi and Onyx. And the resub Chiapo. What show is it? 1899. Is the show popular? I don't know anything about it. It has a lot of views on YouTube. People in chat like it. Honestly, who cares? Well, I am so tired of that perspective. If you had your work lifted for free, no credit, you would care. Turned into a multi-million-dollar production, you would also be upset. Legitimately, almost everybody would. Filming for the show started May 3rd, 2021. Oof, that is not a good timeline for their innocence. Like, if this had been in production for a while, that'd look a lot better for them. Just write a new story. Yeah, just get over it and write another one. They need their next series. Thanks the resub sell. Seems all the similarities are pretty generic. I just disagree. I just don't think they're that generic. Especially not in this context. And even outside of the visual similarities. Like I said, in the Reddit thread, they pointed out story similarities. like identical story beats. I just don't see like this kind of pyramid imagery and pyramid Sharingan to be super generic. I really don't. A shot like this, I could absolutely chalk up as just being like a standard, normal shot. This one to me isn't a big smoking gun. But the others, I would just disagree. Is that recent, Tori? Because no. All comes down to the story. Yep, and I haven't read the comic nor watched the show yet, so I can only go based on that Reddit post who's claiming that the story beats are very similar. This happened not long ago. He's a resub donger. I've read posts claiming the opposite, though. Maybe there are. I've seen mainly posts, and keep in mind, I've only looked at this for like fucking 15 minutes now. I've mainly seen posts on their side here. So maybe there's others out there that I didn't float to the top. Show the Reddit. Here was the... I thought this was a pretty good thread about it. Nice and concise. You play the Ghost Runner DLC? No, I actually never did play the Ghost Runner DLC. Check the show. Wikipedia says they had the idea in 2018. That still wouldn't work well because her comic was published in 2016. And if this is accurate, she also gave them the comic book at that book fair, like around the same time. So that still wouldn't work super well. It's not like they beat her to the idea. Isn't it just the plot of Event Horizon, though? Holy Lord, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Don't know, I haven't read or seen this show. Why even plagiarize? Just adapt her work? Save money, I guess? I don't know. If they plagiarized, that would probably be the motivation for it.